All right, there's one more topic to be covered before you're ready to take your first quiz in the course on research methods. And that topic involves ethics, the ethics of conducting research. And here we're going to focus on the ethics of conducting research with humans in psychology. However, if you're interested, some of us are animal lovers, there are also ethical guidelines for the conduct of research with non-human animals. But in here, our focus involves research with human participants. And the guidelines were presented by the American Psychological Association. That's our guiding professional body in the field of psychology. And I've included several items in those guidelines that may have an impact on you as you participate in our course activities this semester. These are the ones that I want you to know at any rate. So basically what I'm presenting are your rights as you participate as a subject in psychological research. And my thought is I really want you to know these rights before you ever participate as a subject in research. In this course, you'll have the opportunity to participate in at least one research project conducted by a researcher, typically here on campus. And this is through your Psychology in Action PIA projects. However, I do not want to exert any kind of coercion to get you to participate in research this way. So you, as explained in your first recitation, always have the opportunity to analyze a published journal article, basically answering the same questions that you would if you were going to actually participate. What are your rights? Well, first of all, you have a right to participate giving your informed consent. This means that you will basically know what will happen to you participating in the research before you agree to participate in it, and when you do give your consent, it will be informed. Now, you know that research is best when it's double-blind, and so as a research participant, you may not know every detail of what's going to happen. For instance, you may be told that you might get caffeine or you might not get caffeine, and so you may not know whether or not you're in the experimental or the control group. But basically, you are being presented with the opportunity to consent to participate in the research after being informed about the experience in advance. And typically, you're even going to sign an informed consent form or click that you agree online when you are doing an online survey. Regardless, you have a right to be informed about the experience of participation in research before you actually give your consent. Another one of your rights involves confidentiality, and you have the right as a research participant to trust that your data will not be shared widely. For instance, if it's published, it would be published as group data typically with no identifiers of individuals who participated. Those data should be locked up in filing cabinets, in lockable rooms, or kept on password-protected computers, and the information collected during research data collection should only be shared with the people who are actually involved in the research. You also have the right to be protected from physical and psychological harm. Now, this is an interesting one that we're going to talk about more in the topic of social psychology, the second quiz topic. But basically, you have a right to not be physically harmed when you participate in research. You have a right not to be unduly stressed or maybe even forced to know something about yourself that's unpleasant to know. That's something we'll be discussing later. Here's one that I think is really important for our circumstances. You have the right to cease participation in research at any time with no penalty. No penalty in this course and no penalty in your standing here at the university. I think this is very important. If you are participating in research and you no longer wish to continue, then just say so. And there should be no penalty. If there are any problems, of course you should contact me. Another important aspect of conducting research and protecting the participants involves a cost-benefit analysis. Before any research is conducted, one will write a proposal and it is reviewed by the Institutional Review Board. We call it the IRB. And it is examined to make sure that participants are protected. Institutions like universities that receive government funding necessarily have an institutional review board, a committee composed of not just researchers but people from all walks of life to review these research proposals and determine whether or not participants are being properly protected. And part of that examination of research proposals involves a cost-benefit analysis, weighing the potential cost to the participant of participating in the research with the benefits that could be derived from conducting that research. Last but not least, participants have a right to undergo dehoaxing and debriefing. Now, dehoaxing is a procedure that occurs if it is a deceptive study. And we'll be talking about some of those later on under another topic area. But basically, sometimes researchers get special permission to be able to provide false information to participants as part of the research design. Doesn't happen that often nowadays, but it can happen. And in those circumstances, participants have a right to be dehoaxed afterwards, to be told that the research was deceptive and to be told what the real purpose of the research was. Generally speaking, though, debriefing is more common. And following participation in research, participants have a right to be debriefed, to be told what the real purpose of the research was. For instance, did they actually ingest caffeine? Caffeine was expected to speed up reaction time, all of that type of information. And during the debriefing process, a researcher should be checking to see whether or not the participant or participants were harmed in any way. At any rate, you're now ready to take quiz number 1, and I want you to do well.